All right, so today we have an absolute banger of a video. You can see it's going to be a very, very in-depth training. It's essentially going to be around done for you into leverage consulting, how to transition from a done for you service into leveraged consulting and get your customers and your clients better results using leverage consulting rather than done for you. By the way, if you want access to this document right here, go ahead, comment the word consulting in the comment section below. My team will send it over to you so you can have full access to it. But let's just jump into it, okay? Done for you into leverage consulting. First things first, why do we want to do this? Well, leverage consulting is much more effective at scale, right? You can scale to a much higher height whilst maintaining customer results. And really that's the main reason why you want to transition into leverage consulting, right? Because you can scale to a much higher height and still maintain crazy customer results, okay? With done for you, any sort of done for you offer, you cannot scale. Yeah, you technically can scale past 100,000 a month, but typically that's when things start to break. You know, your profit margins start to decrease, and also at scale, your customer or your client results start to decrease as well, because you're trying to bring on more customers, and you know, as you bring on more customers, complexity massively increases, and that then decreases the amount of time that you have to spend on each customer specifically, which then naturally decreases results, right? So it's not a good model at scale. However, let's look at the steps to transitioning from done for you to leverage consulting. Again, if you want access to this doc, comment the word consulting below, and as I say, we'll shoot it over to you. So let's jump into it, right? Steps to transitioning from done for you to leverage consulting. Step one, okay, is you must first have built a proven protocol that reliably delivers the desired transformation consistently. Okay, this is super important. You must have a proven protocol that reliably delivers the desired transformation consistently. And the desired transformation as well has to have been delivered to 5 or more customers using the same system. Meaning you have, you know, X, Y, Z that you implement for your customers, and that reliably every single time delivers the desired transformation, and you've done that for 5 or more customers. Whatever X, Y, Z may be, it doesn't matter. The important aspect is that you've got a system that delivers the desired transformation consistently. That's important. Okay, so it can be achieved through done for you or one-on-one, or slash one-on-one, or as I say, it can be achieved through realizing the desired transformation yourself. So for example, when I started consulting agency owners on how to scale in the e-commerce industry, I had never delivered that transformation. I never delivered that transformation via done for you, right? I'd never built a proven protocol around how to deliver that transformation through doing like done for you for my customers. However, I had achieved that transformation myself, right? I had scaled my own e-com agency, so I knew by virtue of realizing the desired transformation myself, I knew the protocol, I knew the system that had to be implemented that delivered this transformation. Now, granted, I hadn't have done it. I didn't do it for 5 or more customers, but that's why initially when I brought on the initial few customers for the consulting agency aspect, or the consulting agency owners, the initial customers I brought on board were beta customers, right? So I was able to basically build that protocol off the back of what I realized myself. I was able to use that and implement that for my first 5 customers, realized it delivered this transformation every single time. And from there, I had the protocol in which I could then move into leverage consulting, because I did one-on-one initially, right? So I had the transformation myself, realized it myself, had a protocol. It wasn't proven because I hadn't done it for 5 or more customers. So I then went and tacked on one-on-one with that and got 5 initial beta customers, delivered one-on-one, realized that transformation is realized through that system. And then from there, I transitioned to leverage consulting, right? So the key to leverage consulting is to be able to map 5 to 10 actions. And this is so important, guys. The key to leverage consulting is to be able to map 5 to 10 actions that if implemented, right, the customer will realize their desired transformation. That's the key. So it's like, what are the 5 to 10 things? What are the 5 to 10 actions that my customers need to do in order for them to realize that transformation? And if they just take action on those 5 to 10 things, they will by default realize the desired transformation. And at that point, and again, this is key, right, to leverage consulting. At that point, the content, the one-on-ones, and any other features that you have, right, merely become mechanisms you use to increase your customers' action rates on those 5 to 10 actions. Let me say that again. At that point, once you've been able to accurately map the 5 to 10 actions that, if implemented on, will produce the desired transformation in your customers. Well, at that point, the content, the one-on-ones, and any other features, meaning the info product, the weekly community calls, the community itself, right? One-on-ones, whatever it may be, they become merely mechanisms that you use to increase your customers' action rates on the 5 to 10 overarching actions that if implemented on, will deliver the transformation. I hope that makes sense, because that is key to leveraged consulting effectively, right? Meaning, conducting leveraged consulting in a way that actually produces your customers' results, okay? And so this highlights the importance of ensuring that those initial 5 to 10 actions that you mapped actually are the 5 to 10 actions that need to be implemented on in order to deliver the desired transformation, right? Now, the way in which you build this certainty and proof of concept is via done for you / one-on-one, or having realized the desired transformation yourself. So if you've done the thing yourself, for example, with me, when I started to coach and consult agency owners in the e-commerce niche, I had already done the steps myself, right? And then, as I say, I validated those steps by virtue of signing 5 beta customers, conducting one-on-ones with them, and then I realized, okay, yes, this actually works. And so then when I was able to map the 5 to 10 actions, I 100% knew with absolute certainty that if my customers just do X, Y, Z, and a few other things, they will realize that desired transformation. Cool. So let me map that out in the content. And then from there, it was a matter of me keeping my customers accountable and making sure that my customers are just take action. They're just taking action on those 5 to 10 things, because at that point, if they take action on those 5 to 10 things, the desired transformation will, by default, be realized. Okay, that's key. So you must have built that proven protocol initially, because otherwise you can't map these 5 to 10 actions, and then at that point, your consulting offer will be rendered useless because it won't deliver results. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is to hit capacity with your done for you / one-on-one offering, right? And typically you'll see a cap between 50 to 100K a month, like I was saying before. But you want to hit capacity with your done for you or one-on-one offering first, right? There's strictly no point in transitioning into leverage consulting if your done for you model isn't broken. There's no point, right? Why would you transition if your model isn't broken? There's no point, okay? So don't. Done for you / one-on-one is a much easier sell than done with you, right? You'll be able to sell your done for you services or your one-on-one, work with me one-on-one, rather than here's like a protocol that you ought to follow on your own. It's like, no, work with me one-on-one, right? That's such a easier sell than done with you. Okay, and so you want to ride out the done for you / one-on-one wave for as long as you can until you hit a cap / things break from an operational standpoint. Okay, and remember, done for you can also double as one-on-one, right? Here, think gym launch, with what Alex Hormozi did initially with gym launch. He flew out to the gyms themselves, and he actually built the thing for the person, right? He built the system. He injected the system into their business for them, right? So it's like done for you one-on-one, right? As I say, if your calendar is packed with customers and all your time is spent on delivering the one-on-one, that's the point at which your current structure has broke, and you now need to switch into leverage consulting. So if you're doing one-on-ones, right, you're doing, maybe you've got like a 6-week program where you have 1 call a week with your customers and you're selling that and it's working really, really well. That's cool. Ride that wave for as long as you can, because you'll be able to sell that so much easier than, transitioning into leverage consulting. It's going to be a harder sell. I'm not going to sell a pipe dream, right? It is a harder sell. But if you do it correctly, you can still crush it, right? But as I said, there's no point transitioning earlier than you need to, okay? So conducting done for you / one-on-one initially is how you solidify the system, the structure, and overall the 5 to 10 actions. So you actually want to start with done for you / one-on-one. You actually don't want to start in leverage consulting. You don't want to start there because you don't have that solid system initially. You don't know truly with 100% certainty what those 5 to 10 actions are that your customers need to take in order for them to realize their desired transformation. And so at that point, you need to make sure that you build that certainty. How do we do that? It's actually through done for you / one-on-one. Okay, so start there, and then once you've hit your capacity, then we start to look at transitioning, and typically you'll see a cap at around 50 to 100K a month. Okay, so next is mapping your content. So this is essentially taking into account the 5 to 10 actions. It's like you've got all this information, and so how do you distill that down into a system that your customers can follow for them to actually realize the desired transformation? How do we actually map that? How do we distill down our information into a step-by-step system that's easy to follow and that delivers the desired transformation that you're promising. That's the key. If you can just deliver the desired transformation that you actually promise, and it's a desired transformation that somebody actually wants, like it's a true desired transformation, it's not just one that you think people want and then you go ahead and try and sell it. If you just do those things, sales, marketing, signing more customers, scaling, it becomes so much easier. Trust me on that. It becomes so much easier. Okay, so this, you'll see why, you'll see that it play out here. I'm so focused on delivering the desired transformation, right? Like we've not really been pushing Scale Clients IO that hard as of recently, simply because I'm just trying to get our back end down packed, so much so that our customer success rate is off the charts, because I know at that point, as soon as it's off the charts, as soon as we produce the best results in the industry, which we already do, but I want to get like, I want to be like 10x everybody else, not just like a little bit further than them, right? As soon as we get 10x everybody else, like on the front end, we're going to crush it. It's just by default, right? But let's have a look at mapping the content. So the reasons your customers have paid you money is so that you can help them achieve their desired transformation that you sold them on. And so what that insinuates is that they're currently in a place that they don't value as much as their desired destination. And you've seen this below diagram before, right? It's like current situation to the desired transformation, current situation to desired situation, right? However, there's a key insight, right, in this above diagram that's really, really, really important to realize and understand when it comes to actually delivering the desired transformation. That is, this is key. It's not a function of what your customers need to know, right? It's super important to know this. It's not a function of what your customers need to know in order for them to achieve the desired transformation. It's a function of what they need to do. What actions do they need to take? That's what it becomes a function of. It's not what information do they need to know. It's not what IP do they need to, basically have downloaded into their brain. It's got nothing to do with that. It's a function of what do they need to do in order to achieve the desired transformation. Because, I think, as I say here, right, like your customer could know all the necessary information, right? They may even know the exact same as what you know. You may be able to, just download your entire IP into your customers, yet they could still be stuck at point A. They could still be stuck at the current situation and never achieve the desired transformation they so deeply want, even though they know exactly how to realize it. This is so important, okay? It's not about the knowledge. It's not about the information that your customer needs to know to realize the desired transformation, because they could have all that information, they could have all that knowledge, but still be stuck in point A. They could still be at their current situation, just with all the knowledge now of how to get here. But if they don't ever actually take action, if they don't ever actually do the things, they're never actually going to realize the desired transformation. They're just gonna know how to do it, but they'll never realize it. And again, as I say here, the reason your customers have paid you money is so that you can actually help them achieve the transformation that you sold them on, okay? So, realizing the desired transformation lays in the actions your customers take, not in the knowledge they obtain. Okay, this is so important. Okay, realizing the desired transformation in the quickest time frame possible, then further on from that becomes a function of your customers taking action, the doing in the correct order. Okay, so it's not only them taking action, but it's also ensuring that they take action in the correct order. Okay, so let me just keep going here because it's going to eventually make sense as I go through the rest of this stuff here. Okay, so structure of content. It's essentially three main pillars, okay? What the customer needs to do, in what order do they need to take action, and number three, prioritize what will generate quick wins. Now, let me just expand on this point here. Prioritize what will generate quick wins. The point at which a customer is most volatile in the first few days, is the first few days after paying you, right? So you've just charged a customer 10K. The point in which they're most volatile, the point in which they're most likely to dispute that payment, to raise a refund, etc., is in the first few days after them paying you that 10K. And so if you can provide a win, or even if it's something the customer perceives as a win, right? Within those first few days, they are going to be overall happy, and this is important, they're going to trust you more, and your dispute rates will plummet. And so by virtue of them trusting you more, that sets up this next point, which is by providing quick wins initially, you'll also increase your customers' action rates on further info that you provide, which will ultimately increase your customers' success rate. Let me say that again. By providing quick wins initially, you'll also increase your customers' action rate on further info that you provide, which will ultimately increase your customers' action rate. Again, if you've structured your content correctly, then if your customers take action on the first few pillars you've provided, then by default, right, on the few pillars you provided, I should say, then by default, they should realize the desired transformation. And so providing quick wins increases customers' action rate, which in turn increases their success rate if they're taking action on the right activities. So you got a program, you got content, you've got whatever it is, and it's set up in 3 sections, right? Section 1, section 2, section 3, right? And before they get into section 1, you somehow provide a quick win. And we're gonna go into specifics here in a minute as well. And again, if you want access to this resource, this doc right here, go ahead, comment the word consulting in the comment section below, and we'll shoot it over to you, okay? Because it's really important that you know this stuff in order to get your customers the best results possible, okay? But let's say, for example, you got some sort of structure where it's section 1, section 2, section 3. Before they get into section 1 though, you provide a quick win. What that's gonna do is it's not only is it gonna, make your customer super happy because, 24 hours, 48 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, after they pay you, they're already seeing results for whatever it is that they paid you for. Maybe it's not realizing the overarching desired transformation, but it's a sub-transformation, right? It's just a little quick win that just instantly makes them happy. It's a happy customer. You can never go wrong with that. But also, as by extension of that, you also increase their action rate on section 1, section 2, section 3. And so if section 1, 2, 3 are the true actions that your customers need to take in order to realize the desired transformation, well, if you're able to, increase their action rates on those sections, then again, by default, you're going to increase your overarching customer success rate because more customers are going to take action on those sections, which then in turn obviously means that they're going to get better results. And if you're able to do that across a bunch of different customers, your average customer success rate massively increases. Super important stuff, okay? And so let's break down these points here. So as I say, structure of content is what the customer needs to do, in what order they need to take action, and what will you want to prioritize what will generate quick wins. So let's have a look at what the customer needs to do. Now, the content, okay, again, is merely a mechanism used to communicate the 5 to 10 actions the customer ought to take to realize the desired transformation. People get mixed up on this so much. They think that, content or the videos or the tools or whatever, they get so, they think that that's what the customer is buying. That's what they truly believe, that, they're buying my videos, they're buying the content, they're buying the tools, they're buying whatever it is, right? The mechanism, but they're not. They're buying the desired transformation. That's what they're buying. And so if you could, give them something else, right? It was these sunglasses, right? You could give them and somehow that produced the desired transformation. Give them and let them, let that be the way that the desired transformation is realized, right? They don't care that you've got videos or that you've got one-on-one or you've got this or you've got that. They just don't care. They're buying the transformation. And so, don't get hung up on the content. Don't get hung up on these mechanisms like so many people do. Because all that is, as I say, the content or the tools or whatever it is just merely a mechanism used to communicate the 5 to 10 actions the customer ought to take in order to realize the desired transformation. Keep everything focused around the transformation. Okay? So map the desired transformation as the end goal of the equation or of an equation, and input the variables inside the equation that ultimately equal the desired transformation. Let me explain what I mean by that. So it looks like this. You want to map the actions, okay? So action, I've only done 3 here just for the sake of the diagram, but if it's 7 things your customers need to do, then do 7, right? But you want to map this. You want to go action 1 plus action 2 plus action 3 equals the desired transformation. Okay, so if we're looking at for example, with Scout Clients IO customers, right? Let's look from a very broad, very, very broad overview. But it's action 1, it's get 5 calls a day is action 1. Okay, you need to have 5 calls a day. Action 2, have a high ticket offer. Okay, and then action 3 is to have a 40% conversion rate. Okay, and at that point, the desired transformation is sign 10 clients a month at 10K each. So, hit 100K a month, okay? Well, it's if they have 5 calls a day, they close at 40% and they have a 10K offer, well, by default, they are going to hit 100K a month. Or I don't know the math on that, so it might be way over, it might be a little bit less, but you get the point. It's by default, if they just book in 5 calls a day, they have a 10K offer and they close at 40%, they're gonna be at 100K a month or whatever the number is, right? And so that's what you wanna be able to map. Now, obviously, there's just book 5 calls a day. You can't just charge 10K for an offer. You can't just close at 40%, right? And so that's where this next section comes into play. But for starters, just focus on mapping those actions, those overarching actions that if implemented, by default, the desired transformation is realized, okay? Now, once you've mapped those 5 to 10 actions in this above equation format, you now want to make a new formula which each equal the individual actions, right, as the sub-transformation. So again, for example, okay, so we've got this above equation that we just went through, right? Action 1, 2, 3. Action 1 plus action 2 plus 3 equals the desired transformation. Perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to take action 1 and we want to put that as the actual, what the equation equals. So now we're going to create a new equation that equals action 1. So now it's, okay, sub action 1 plus sub action 2 plus sub action 3 equals action 1, okay? And then you do the same thing for 2 and 3. And so now what this means is, as I said before, you can't just book in 5 calls a day. Okay, well, let's make that the equation. So now this equation here is going to equal 5 calls per day. Okay, cool. So now it's like, what do we need to do to book in 5 calls a day? Well, we need to do sub action 1. We need to, have an audience that we can leverage. Cool. We need to have an offer that people actually want. Cool. And we need to have an appointment setter. Cool. That then means that we're going to have 5 calls per day consistently. Okay, cool. So now, by virtue of these sub actions, the overarching action of 5 calls per day is equaled. Perfect. Then action 2. What was action 2? 10K offer. Okay, cool. So what, we can't just tack on a 10K price tag to any and every offer. Okay, well, how do we, how are we able to charge 10K for our offer? Well, we need to do X, we need to do Y, we need to do Z. Perfect. That now equals sub transformation 2. That now equals action 2. So now we know how to book in 5 calls a day and we now have a 10K offer. What's action 3? Well, let's put that as the equation. That's to close at 40%, right? And again, this is complete examples. Do not copy this because it's just, pulled out of thin air, okay? But to close at 40%, what do we need to do? Well, we need to, have a good sales process. We need to have, again, a good offer. We need to do X, Y, Z. Okay, cool. Now, by virtue of actioning on these sub-actions, action 3 of closing at 40% is now equaled. So guess what? Now we know how to book in 5 calls a day. We now know that we're able to charge 10K for our offer, and we are now able to close at 40%. And again, remember what we mentioned. If these actions are true, then by default, if you're able to achieve them and you're able to do them, by default, the desired transformation is realized. I hope that makes sense, guys. This is so powerful. Okay, and again, get access to this document, okay? Comment the word consulting below, we'll shoot it over to you. Get access to it and follow this. Just follow it because it's so powerful for customer results, okay? This is literally exactly what we do with Scale Clients IO, and it's how we get the best results in the industry. It's following this exact structure. So as I say, this infers by default that if your customers' inputs are exactly what those sub-actions, so these sub-actions here, if your customers' inputs are exactly what those sub-actions state, okay, over a period of time, the length of time will be dependent on the transformation. Some transformations you'll be able to realize in a week, whereas others it might be 12 months, okay? So depending, it doesn't matter about the specific time frame. Well, it does over the long term because you want to try and get customer results as quickly as you physically can. But again, certain transformations you physically can't realize that result in less than 6 months or in less than 12 months. It's physically impossible, right? So over a period of time, whatever is relevant for your transformation, but over a period of time, the desired transformation will be realized if your customers' inputs are exactly what those sub-actions state, okay? So this then further infers that the sub-actions lead to the respective overarching action. Okay, so now the sub-actions lead to the respective overarching action. If the overarching actions are realized, the desired transformation is realized. Let me say that again. The sub-actions lead to the respecting overarching action. Okay, now if the overarching actions are realized, the desired transformation is realized. This is the best structure I've ever found. It works every single time. And so what then becomes is the sub-actions become the basis of your content. So this is what the content is. It's not action 1, it's not action 2, it's not action 3, it's not the desired transformation, it's these sub-actions. Because these sub-actions are embedded in these overarching. And if these overarching ones are achieved, by default, the desired transformation is realized, okay? Super powerful stuff. So this is what you focus on, whether it's in the content, whether it's in the one-on-ones, whatever it is, this is what you focus customers on, okay? So taking action in the correct order plus prioritizing quick wins. So that was explaining kind of what the customers need to do. How do you identify what your customers need to do? Well, it's through this formula right here, okay? Now, we're gonna look at these last 2 points, which is in what order do they need to take action, and prioritizing quick wins, okay? So while the promised desired transformation remains the North Star, we must remember the all-important rule of 3. Number 1, results lay in actions, not knowledge. Number 2, you must cover the actions that get the result, okay? Nothing else. Remember, it's not in the knowledge that, you're not trying to transfer knowledge to your customers. You're trying to, all you're trying to cover is the actions, because results lay in the actions, not the knowledge. Okay. And number 3 is you need to do everything you can to get your customers to take action. So let me explain. If we prioritize quick wins, your customers' action rate will dramatically increase, and by extension, customers will have a much higher success rate on the desired transformation being realized. This is why initially, even if technically the sub action is step 5, for example, it makes sense to make that respective sub-action step 1 to drive early results, which will then increase the customer's likelihood of taking remaining actions because they've been injected with a euphoric hit. Okay, so as soon as a new customer enrolls into Scale Clients.io, literally 90 minutes after making payment, 90 minutes, not even 2 hours, 90 minutes after making the payment, the customer receives this email right here, okay? 90 minutes after making payment. And we go through a couple of different things, but we give them an action item. I literally tell our customers to go ahead and take action on this idea here, which we go through in there's a respective module. It's like the 10th module, I think, or whatever it is. But so it's not actually it's not actually sub action 1. It's like, it's further down the line in the order that the customer needs to take action in. But if, as I say here, technically that sub action is a lot further along in the process, but we've included it as soon as payment is made, because if the customer already has some pre-existing leverage, they can literally 4 to 7x their initial investment in the space of a 24-hour period after enrollment. So literally, if the customer has some sort of pre-existing leverage, we can get them a 4 to 7x their initial investment, right, in the first 24 hours after they make payment. So for example, they make payment right now, which is 9:30 a.m. By 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, they could have 4 to 7x their investment that they paid to join Scale Clients.io. And so what do you think they're going to do at that point? Everything else we say, every other action that we're communicating, hey, now you need to go ahead and do this, now you need to do that. What do you reckon they're going to do? They're probably going to take action because they've just made 10K profit in their first 24 hours of being a customer. So now they're 100%, their action rate on those following steps that we mentioned is going to be through the roof. Right? And so it's at that point that then again, if the following actions that we tell them to take, if they truly are the actions in the equation that again eventually equals the desired transformation, their success rate overall is going to be off the charts, simply because we gave them a huge euphoric hit initially by providing early wins. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so as I say here, I'm probably going to repeat myself, but not only does that provide a crazy powerful case study for us, right, of course, so then again, as I said before, if you just focus on customer results, everything else becomes a lot easier. If we then get, enroll a customer and they've just made, 10K in their first 24 hours, well then I can just put that on my story. I can just advertise that and we're going to naturally get so many more customers through. And that was by focusing on nothing other than customer results. So literally customer results are the Achilles heel of your business. Trust me on that. Right? Everything stems from your customer results. So not only does that provide a crazy powerful case study, because it's like, an hour after they joined our program, as an hour after they became a customer, they already did XYZ. 24 hours into becoming a customer, they already did it. They already did XYZ. That's going to do so much more for you on the marketing front than anything else would. Okay. So in conjunction to that, it also massively increases our customers' action rates on the following sections, which ultimately increases our customers' overall success rate, because by taking action on the following sections, by default, that enables them to realize the overall desired transformation. Okay, this stuff, guys, is so powerful. Okay, again, if you want access to this doc, comment consulting right below. Okay, so now let's look at increasing customer results through customer success managers. Okay, so the 5 to 10 actions that are your KPIs in which you measure as they are embedded into the desired transformation. So for example, if you set a goal of 300K a month, right, which is the desired transformation, you have to reverse engineer that goal to figure out what you need to do in order to actually achieve that goal, right? If you just fixate on, I want to hit 300K a month, I want to hit 300K a month, I want to hit 300K a month, guess what? You're never going to hit 300K a month because you're not doing the actions, the things that are actually going to get you to 300K a month. Okay, so while this is, again, this is what the customer pays you for. They don't pay you for how you get them there. They pay you that you get them there, right? However, if you just focus on 300K a month, you're actually not going to get any customers to 300K a month. Okay, you have to reverse engineer the goal to figure out what you need to do to actually achieve it. And it's those inputs that you measure, and those inputs are the 5 to 10 actions. Okay, so the job then becomes to progress as many customers through each action as possible, as this ramps the likelihood of the desired transformation being realized. Okay, so again, as I say here, right, as opposed to having a sales CRM, you need a customer fulfillment CRM, and you install customer success managers into that flow, and then their job role is these next 4 actions here. But let me just explain this here for a minute. So we actually have it's Scale Clients.io. We have a customer fulfillment CRM, which essentially is as soon as we bring on a new customer, we have it's like a sales CRM. You'll have like lead, you'll have contact made, you'll have sales call taken or demo call booked, showed up, you'll have that, and then at the end you'll have customer, right, paying client. We have the same thing but for customers. So we'll have it as soon as they onboard. We have an onboarding flow to make sure the customer receives everything that they need, to make sure that they've done all the right actions in the onboarding section to set them up for success. And then we have a back-end flow, which is through, because at the moment Scale Clients.io is 6 months, and we also work one-on-one with each and every customer as well. You join a one-on-one Slack channel with myself and my team and whatnot, but we track their progress through those 6 months. So we'll actually map because we have our own 5 to 10 actions for our customers, right? And so there's a series of things, around 7 at the moment, 7 main actions that if our customers just take action on those things, by default, they realize the desired transformation, right? It's so powerful. And again, this is how we produce such ridiculous results. And so in the customer CRM, we have, each like section, instead of it being like lead, contact made, demo book, sales call taken, for us, it's, action 1, action 2, action 3, action 4, action 5, etc. And then from there, we're able to just input each customer into wherever they're at in that process, right? And then from there, we know exactly what that customer now needs to do next, because it's just the next action. Have they achieved the current action? Yes. Well, now they need to move on to this next one. Cool, do that, perfect. Next one, do that, perfect. Next one, do that, perfect. And again, action 1, action 2, action 3, right? Do this, move on to the next one, do this, move on to the next one. Oh, by default, the desired transformation is realized, right? It's really important to have a customer fulfillment CRM, okay? And as I say, you install customer success managers into that flow, right? And their sole job is to, customer success managers, their sole job is to, number 1, help customers with questions they have, right? If applicable. So depending on your offer, your promised outcome, your industry, etc., you may need head coaches, right? To handle the questions customers have, as they may exceed your customer success manager's knowledge base. So we have head coaches as well as CSMs, because it's ramping to 100,000 a month is pretty difficult. Not everyone can do it. That's why not everyone's at 100,000 a month, right? So if you can though, get your customer success managers to help customers with questions they have, right? At least to the ones that are in their knowledge base. Okay. Number 2 is they help customers with assets they need. So if a customer asks a question or they need access to something, your CSM will shoot them over access to whatever it is. Okay. Keep customers accountable. So make sure they're asking how you're going. Do you need anything? Blah blah blah. Right. And also ensuring they are taking actions, the correct actions in the right order. Right. So that's what your CSM's job role truly is. It's really these main 4 things. And again, the goal is to get the customer to the next stage. So again, we're going back to the customer fulfillment CRM idea, right? It's like you've got your stages, and if your customer progresses through those stages, at the end of it is the desired transformation, right? And so with each one of these job lines, whatever you want to call it, right? The goal of each one is to get the customer to the next stage. For example, right? Help customers with questions they have to get them to the next stage. Ensure they're taking the correct actions in the right order so that they're able to progress to the next stage. Everything's about progressing customers through that CRM. Because again, at the end of it, get desired transformations realized. And so this also infers that depending on your offer and promise transformation, the actions each customer ought to take may change depending on where they're at in their journey. So for example, with Scale Clients.io again, we'll have customers who join who are already at 80K a month, and they need to, like, their next steps is number one, restructure their current client acquisition flow. Number two, build a sales team. And number three, transition into leverage consulting, right? That's what the next steps are for the respective customer who joins and they're already at $1 million a year, right? We have, quite a few customers of that nature, okay? Conversely, on the flip side, we'll have another customer who joins and they're at 10K a month with no real offer locked in that resonates at a high level in the market. And so their next steps is number one, to whip up 3 to 5 new offers. Number two, go to market and test those offers using outbound prospecting, or their current audience if they have one, right? If they have some pre-existing leverage, they can just go to that audience and test those offers. And then number three is to validate the promised transformation by signing initial beta customers and so on and so forth, right? And then there's the next step. There's the next actions that they need to then take after that. But the key to know is that two customers join the same program, but their next steps are different. So you need to be able to make sure that you're able to map where each customer is upon joining so that you know exactly what their next actions are. Because you may have one customer who joins and they're already, they've done action 1 and 2. And so their next actions need to be 3, 4, 5, 6 to then equal the desired transformation. Another customer joins and they've not done anything. So they need to do all the actions. They need to do action 1 through 6. Right? Whereas somebody else may only need to do actions 4, 5, and 6. So you need to be able to depict where each customer is at and plug them into that CRM, right, that we're talking about. You've got each section, you've got action 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, maybe somebody joins at 4. Well, you won't input them at 4, you input them at 1, you'd input them at 4. And then from there, your customer success managers can then make sure that they're doing everything that they physically can, that they have access to everything they need, all that type of stuff, to get to step 5, to get to step 6, 7, and then so on and so forth, right? And then somebody else joins at 1 and they need to go through all of them, okay? And so as I say, in both cases, both customers are wanting the same end goal. Typically, again, for Scale Clients.io, the end goal is to add an extra 100K a month to their business. So whether that be they're already at 80,000 a month and they want to hit 180, or they're at 0 and they want to hit 100, typically it's around 100,000 a month that they want to, that's the desired transformation. So they both have the same desired transformation, but both customers' actions they ought to take next to realize that 100K a month additional revenue is wildly different. So you need to make sure that you're able to map those out and you're able to understand where each customer is at. And this is also where head coaches come into play as well, because they'll be able to recognize where a customer is at and what their next best steps are, / what actions they need to take moving forward. Okay, they'll be able to understand, okay, this is a customer where they're already at action 4, so let's plug them in there and let's make sure that they do 5, 6, 7. Right. Whereas they'll also be able to understand, okay, this customer's at 0, they're at action 1, we need to plug them in there and we need to get them to take the next steps. And then it's up to the CSM and the head coach to ensure that the customer is taking those actions in the correct order every single day consistently so that they end up at the desired transformation. I hope this was useful. I hope you take action on this as well, guys, truly, because this changed the game. Right? This is exactly how we've built Scale Clients.io, and it really changed the game for us in terms of customer results. And again, if you get better customer results than everybody else in your industry, by default, you'll scale. Right? By default, you will crush it, for lack of better words, right? Because again, if you are able to take those customer results that you get and market them, that'll do more talking, that'll do more selling, that'll do more everything than anything else that you could say. Okay, so I'm always customer first. And then from there, it's like, okay, how do we bring on new customers? But again, when it comes to the question of how do we bring on new customers, it's so much easier because our current customer base is crushing it. If your customers can pay you money and after they've worked with you, they now make far more money than they originally made, or that, if you're, typically you can always somehow tie your desired transformation back to money. And if you can, it's advised because you trade in apples for apples, okay? It's much more powerful, especially to charge high ticket. And so as I say, typically in the grand scheme of things, if you can just, your customers pay you money and then after they've finished working with you, they now make way more money, you're not going to have too much of an issue bringing on new customers. Okay. So again, if you want access to this doc, go ahead, comment consulting down below. Okay. And we'll shoot it over to you. We'll give you access to it. And yeah, as always, I hope you found value. Go ahead, like the video if you enjoyed, comment your thoughts down below as well. Let me know if you've got any other questions. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.